Okay, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Welcome back to the SOW for 14th of July, and this is our first SOW after the general elections. I hope that everyone is happy with their results. If you're not happy, it's okay. You wait another 5 more years. You can actually use your vote to express your unhappiness again. But that said, I thank God that the elections went well, and that everything can go continue as per normal, and then of course with everyone in the Sengkang, I hope that you're also happy. You've got additional representative, additional voice, in the parliament. Okay. That's it. Come, let us just start this one. So for everyone's reference, okay, I'm going to share an article from Forbes, written by Forbes Financial Council. It's actually dated April 22nd.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, James, let me just ask you. Do you know who this Forbes Financial Council are or is?
No, I got no
Don't know.
idea. Yes.
Okay. Actually, I also don't know. Okay.
You can Google it
But
now.
because they wrote this article, so I had to just check, who they are, and
Okay.
just to give you a quick, introduction. So Forbes Financial Council is an invitation-only organization, for senior level financial services executives and leaders. So
Okay.
basically, the people who are in this organization, they are by invitation only, and they have to meet certain requirements for this. Okay. So what they did was that they compiled and they wrote in each of their own so-called financial planning tips. Okay.
Okay.
There are 15 financial planning tips that are from this article, but I'm just going to select 3 or 4 of them so that we can just do a quick discussion over it. Okay. Now,
Nice.
so one of the first one that we talk about, in terms of financial tips, right? Okay, James, is that I think it's very useful to start off is that when we want to do some financial planning for ourselves, it's not just about like the insurance per se, which is the conventional understanding, but what the idea or the suggestion here, given here is that is to start with an end in mind.
Okay.
So I think this is a very good first step for us to ask ourselves, in terms of like what you want to do financially. You should be able to ask and find out, or determine what kind of end goal you want. Okay.
It's true.
So yeah, and what kind of lifestyle you want, and by doing that, you can understand your expenses and income. Okay. So it's important, sometimes that we say, oh, I want to be rich, I want to be like able to afford this one. So that itself is a good start. It's a good start because you have a certain end goal in mind. So spend some time thinking about it, all right? And then the second one that I like to also share, personally, I found it very useful, is that what was shared here is actually know your fixed burn rate to the penny. What it means is, in your in business terms, it's actually a burn rate. Some of you who are familiar with it, it just means that know your cash flow, how much your expenses are, or rather your monthly fixed costs, right? The idea here is that yeah, if you are in a career that if you want to increase your expenses, or right, you want to increase more cash flow, if you're in the sales and you're in the commission industry, you can work harder lah. But if you want to then if you're not in that kind of industry, you're in a fixed pay, so it's important to then know what is your outflow, yeah, so that you can plan and budget around it. Yeah, otherwise then you'll be overspending lah, right? Mm.
Mm.
Okay.
And these are tips for people who are new to financial planning, right? I mean,
Yes,
for
yes,
people who want
you're
to.
right. Yeah, correct, correct. I think financial planning in this case it doesn't have to be complicated. Just need to follow a few of these rules that I'm sharing as well. So I've covered 2 of the tips, which is actually start with the goal, end goal in mind.
Go in
Okay.
mind.
Yeah, and then second one is actually knowing
Know
your
your burn rate.
burn rate. Yeah,
Yeah.
that means like knowing what your fixed cost on a monthly basis is. Yeah, and of course the third one is that I like to highlight is actually pay yourself first.
Okay.
Um, so pay yourself first doesn't mean that you give yourself a salary in that sense, but rather setting aside some money, okay, monthly or even like at a regular basis, okay, that is used for a disciplined saving. Okay,
Mm.
so this one actually helps you to make sure that you have a set of funds that can be used for your long-term goal, which in this case actually translates to your end goal in mind, which is the first point that I highlighted, right? So it's important you pay everything. One thing that James, we realize that we when our pay comes in, we tend to want to pay everything else, which in this case is a common practice. But if you think about it, like you are actually paying others first, or rather everything else, then only comes to yourself, which in this case is a bit, it can be difficult, especially if you have your own goals to want to strive for. So important, pay for yourself. And then, and in this case, yourself is actually what you want to achieve in the long term, which is your end goal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think that's a good sharing. I think one way to look at it is also, if you have $1,000, right? Who do you want to invest, with, in this room or in this webinar session, right? Who are the people you want to invest in? Yeah. And I
Yes.
think the best person to invest in is actually ourselves.
Yes, you are right. Yeah. And who is the best asset that you can actually think of, or like who's the most important asset that we can all have?
Also ourselves.
Yes,
That's
you
biggest
are right.
assets. Yes.
Yes, yeah. So so this concept of like our you being or we ourselves being our biggest asset is something that we in this money map talk about as well. In fact, this is something that we need to understand and capture so that we realize the importance of like making sure that you yourself or me myself is taken care of, and then there is enough attention given to it to improve, to be well protected in terms of risk management. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that itself is from the spin-off from pay yourself. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Gaius. Gaius, you want to repeat the three, tips for beginners, for financial planning again, and which are these three key tips? And I just noticed that actually Gaius, right, has a degree in NUS. Gaius also has a CHFC, and at the same time, he also has a diploma in financial planning. Something that I didn't really know, and when when I was doing up the website for MoneyMap. Yeah, and this is what I found out. So, Gaius, you want to share that three tips again or not? Yeah, so that it is useful for
Thanks.
consumer as well as for practitioner as well.
Yeah. So guys, so the tips that I shared, this is the first one is actually starting with the end in mind. Okay, so know where you want to end up, in the long term or in the future. Second one is actually knowing your burn rate. That means what your monthly fixed cost is, and of course, the third one, pay yourself. Okay, these three tips are actually lifted off from an article from Forbes Finance Council. You can go and search it. Is the article is dated 22nd of April. Yep.
All right, thanks, Gaius. And over at my side, right, let me just talk about something on investment, which is also very similar to what Gaius has shared earlier. Gaius talked about financial planning in general. I'm just going to talk about investing for new beginner. And again, right, me and Gaius, we didn't really prepare for the topic, but then apparently the topic just comes in, naturally, complementing each other's topic.
For beginners, yes.
Yes, and this is for beginner as well. And if you look at the current market, right, I think sometime in April, I mentioned that there is a huge number of foreign deposit that have entered Singapore, and the month earlier in March or even in February, right, some of the partners that we have been working closely with, like iFAST or even the banks, has also mentioned a sudden increase in the number of investment account that has been opened. Yeah, so like I mentioned, right, this account has been open. Some have been funded, but not all have been funded. All right. So amidst of all this pandemic, right, they also noticed that the people who have opened this account are generally the uh, younger, Singaporeans or younger people. Okay, and all these young people who open this account, right, they are basically looking for opportunities to put their cash to work. So that, and this is most of them is their first time investing in the market. Okay, whether is it unit trust, whether is it stocks and equity, whether is it forex or not, this is probably the first time that they have started opening an account. Okay, and this boom, right, basically has and this surge in demand, right, has also been seen across across the retail investor across the region as well. I was reading an article from CNBC. They also mentioned that across the Asia region, right, the online brokerage account has seen a rapid increase over the past couple of months. Okay, and upon seeing these statistics, right, I thought today it is the best time to just share with everyone, right? Today, if you are new, okay, to opening an investment account, what should you be doing? Okay, I think one of the best way for newcomer who have just started investing, right, is to safeguard yourself against the ups and down. The market may seems attractive to go in now, but we really don't know where the bottom is. Correct, Gaius?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Now
because we
there's so many bottoms.
yes. And at the same time, we don't have a crystal ball, to determine, is this the best time to enter? I think there really isn't a best time to enter. I think most importantly, it is really investing for long term and also to invest into a more diversified portfolio. So there is two approach, okay, that on top of what Gaius has mentioned, right, in financial planning, starting with an end goal in mind, know your burn rate, start paying yourself first, right? If today you are new to investment, I think you can adopt these two approach, the next two approach that I'm going to share. One is look for investment right now, right? They can provide you with income from a regular interest payment, so that you can diversify your risky assets and then hedge against the tough market condition right now. And so really look for that funds, the dividend paying funds that can give you that the regular repayment, regular dividend, regular payment. Yeah, I think this is one good approach that beginners can approach. The second approach, right, is they can allocate the funds across more assets so that they can rebalance, so that they can basically diversify their risk. And then they should also do a regular rebalancing regularly. Yeah, and one way to do a regular balancing regularly, right, is really to talk to your investment consultant, investment advisor, financial planner, financial consultant. Yeah, they are the professional who can give you a good updates of what is happening in the market. I think like just yesterday, right, I was talking to a customer, while doing a callback. So I was having a chat with the customer, and the customer who have taken up a loans like about 2.5 years ago. So the customer was telling me that, oh, his loan was 2%, But then I told him that the current rate is less than 1%. And then the customer is so excited. The customer said, "No, they want to find out more about how he can save money by reducing his mortgage interest rate." Yeah. So yes, yeah. So I think there is really a value for you to really start talking to your financial consultant so that you can rebalance and relook at your investment on a more regular basis. So once again, to summarize that simple two-step, right? One of two approach. One is to look for investment funds that can provide you with regular return, regular interest payment. Okay. Second is to allocate your funds across different asset class so that it can diversify the risk further. Yep. So these are the two sharing that I have for today for this
Great.
week's SOW.
Yeah, great, James. Yeah, maybe if I also can add on, some of you may actually ask, like what James said, in terms of diversifying and also rebalancing your investment. Just a thought, some questions may actually come up, and it's like, oh, so how often should I rebalance, or like in terms of the frequency, is it like every month, every week, or even quarterly? Well, I mean, just for our listeners' benefit, there are instruments outside there. In general, the rebalancing is actually happening on a quarterly basis. Why quarterly basis? Well, I mean, it depends also on the volatility and the risk profile of your investments. But if you're looking at those that are based on unit trust funds, right? Because of its volatility is not that high as compared to stocks, for example. So generally on a quarterly basis is quite a good balance in terms of frequency of reallocating or rebalancing your funds. Yeah. So just to add on to that, yeah, like what James has mentioned. Um, so yeah, that's all from us today, everyone. Okay. And you're listening to SOW Start of the Week on the 14th of July. And thanks for listening to us again. And if you like our content, please follow us at our Instagram and Facebook handle. And if you found that what you're hearing is useful, this podcast is part of our Money CEO channel, where we talk about day-to-day financial matters. And most of all, we try to make it simple, bite-sized, and easy for you to understand. Thank you for listening and have a blessed week ahead. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.